teaches peace, because that is not new. For anybody who has spent enough time studying Islam, that the word Islam is tied to taslim. It's tied to submission to the will of Allah for the attainment of peace between creation and creator. That one of the names of Allah is As-Salam, the source of all peace. That one of our aspirations as Muslims and as human beings is that we will end up in Dar es-Salam, in the abode of peace or Jannah. That our greeting is Assalamu alaikum to each other. And even when we meet people who are not knowledgeable, who are ignorant, وَإِذَا خَاطَبَهُمُ الْجَاهِلُونَ قَالُوا سَلَامًا. Every aspect of our religion has the maqasid or the objective of establishing peace. So I'm not coming here to say Islam teaches or propagates peace. I think that is primary school material. I also am not here to tell you Islam encourages unity. The same religion that tells you to pray together, to fast together, to do your pilgrimage together. The same religion that encourages you to eat together, that describes you as one ummah, as a brotherhood, that tells you if you pray together, you have 25 or 27 times more reward than doing it alone, that Allah's hand or support is with the jama'ah. I didn't come here to tell you wa'tasimu bihablillahi jami'an. You all already know Islam teaches unity. So I'm not coming to say Islam teaches unity. I believe that is also primary school material. Also to tell you that Islam is in favor of development, the progress of humanity. That when you are told the maqasid of Sharia, the objectives of Sharia are to do with jalbul masaleh, the accruing of benefits for humanity, wa dar'ul mafasid, and the removal of harm. That when we look at the maqasid of Sharia, what are called the daruriyat khamsa, the 5 fundamental objectives as brought out by Ghazali, Juwaini and all these other scholars who came before, they break them down into 5 major categories. Ibn Taymiyyah and Imam Shatibi say 5 is not the limit, that's just a minimum beginning. Hifdhud Deen, the protection of Deen and in its enhancement. Consequently, we are expected to learn our religion, avoid shirk, do da'wah. Hifdhun Nafs, the protection of life and its enhancement. So it is prohibited for you to kill an innocent person. And to save the life of a person is like saving the life of humanity, Allah says in the Quran. The protection of aql, of the mind, by prohibiting intoxicants, by encouraging study, that the search for knowledge, the talab al-ilm is fard. Whether fardu ayn or fardu kifaya, we will come back to that. But whatever is a prerequisite for a fard is considered a fard itself. That hizbul aql, therefore, is one of the maqasid of Sharia, that a human mind should be developed. So we need schools. Life must be protected. We need a healthcare system. We need a better security system. That Islam also encourages us for what they call hifdul nasl or nasab or ird. In short, the Ibn Ashur says it's all equivalent to the protection of the family. Whether of progeny, of children, the whole idea of protecting family. So marriage is a sunnah, divorce is makruh, except where it's necessary. Unnecessarily it becomes a haram. Sexual relations outside marriage is haram. Why? To protect the integrity of family. And then the protection of mal, of wealth and property, and in its enhancement and equitable distribution. So we have the whole subject of Islamic economic and political thought that ensures administration of justice. As Ibn Taymiyyah says, adl, justice, is one of the maqasid or universal maqasid of Sharia. Just as rahmah, compassion, is a maqasid of Sharia, since the Prophet was sent as a rahmah lil alameen. But if we are going to develop and protect life and protect the development of human mentality and intellect, if we're going to protect family and wealth and justice, that is what development is all about. Poverty alleviation, better healthcare system, better justice, better security, better education, better enlightenment. To encourage people to travel. The Quran says, Siru fil ard. Travel the earth. Learn about other cultures. All the differences in your cultures and tribes shu'uban wa qaba'il, is lita'arafu, that you'll get to know each other. Not one way, not for them to know you or you to know them, but lita'arafu. It's for you to know each other, because Allah has put His ayat everywhere. So to come and say Islam is in support of development and sustainable development, I think this is also primary school information. We all know Islam is interested in maslaha, the promotion of human welfare, amal bir ma'ruf wa nahy anil munkar. Anything good we are supposed to support. Anything bad we are supposed to avoid and prevent. So instead, in this topic, I will be talking more about how do we get better development, better unity, and better peace. In handling this topic, I will be handling the subjects of peace building, development, and unity, and I would like to look at each one of them. We'll look at development, personal development, and societal development. When we look at the topic to do with unity, we will look at intra-faith unity, unity within the house of Islam, and unity between Islam and other religions, and unity with Bani Adam, our shared humanity. And lastly, we will look at the concept of peace, both internal peace in yourself and your relationship with your Creator, and external peace with the rest of creation. And may Allah make this task easy for us in the time available. I'll start with development, personal and societal development. This is an area that is important because it deals mainly with the maqasid and objectives of Sharia. But let's start with personal development. The first thing I'd like to start is for us to connect our iman and amilan salihan. And what is an amal that is described as salihan? What kind of action is described as good? It is any action that is furthering the objectives of Sharia. Any action that is bringing benefit or removing harm becomes a test of whether your iman is true or whether you are deceiving yourself. Allah tells us in the Quran that there is something some of the Jews and some of the Christians say. وَقَالُوا لَنْ يَدْخُلُ الْجَنَّةَ إِلَّا مَنْ كَانَ هُودًا أَوْ نَصَارَى. That some of the Jews are saying, and Christians say the same thing. Nobody will enter Jannah except if he is a Jew, and the Christian will say except if he is a Christian. Allah says that is their own umniya. Tilka amaniyuhum. That is their own wishful thinking. قُلْ هَاتُوا بُرْهَانُكُمْ إِن كُنْتُمْ صَادِقِينَ. Bring proof if you are telling the truth. Why is this important? Because sometimes we do the same thing. We say nobody will enter Jannah unless he is a Muslim. But then we listen carefully to what Allah and the Prophet describe as being a Muslim. Is it just Iman or with Amil and Salihan? Because some of us think just because we have done Iman and we talk, no action, that shikena muma lan yadkhulul jannata illa man huwa Muslim. And Muslim means just you have said your kalima, ya Isa. As if Allah didn't say, وَمِنَّ النَّاسِ مَنْ يَقُولُ آمَنَّا بِاللَّهِ وَبِالْيَوْمِ الْآخِرِ وَمَا هُمْ بِمُؤْمِنِينَ. Allah is saying there are people who say, we believe in Allah and in the last day. But Allah says they are not among the believers. The Prophet ﷺ said, none of you, la yu'minu ahadukum, is a true believer. Hatta yuhibbu li akhihi ma yuhibbu li nafsihi. None of you, you can say I'm a believer, but a real believer that Allah and the Prophet are concerned about will love for the other what he loves for himself. In his Sharh, Imam al-Nawawi of the 40 hadith, he makes a commentary on that hadith. And he says, just as you love Islam for yourself, you must love it for others. This hadith is not saying none of you is a true believer until he loves for his brother Muslim what he loves for himself. No, it's your brother in humanity. Don't be selfish with the idea that just as you love for your brother Muslim what you love for yourself, you love for humanity what you love for yourself. If you love hidayah for yourself, if you love khair for yourself, love it for the rest of humanity. But we find Allah telling us something. People who say, I believe in Allah and I believe in the day of judgment. But Allah says, أَرَأَيْتَ الَّذِي يُكَذِّبُ بِالدِّينِ. Have you ever seen the person who gaskiya he doesn't believe he is meeting Allah? He doesn't believe in Yawm ad-Din. He will say it, but it's not in the heart. فَذَلِكَ الَّذِي يَدُعُ الْيَتِيمُ وَلَا يَهُدُّ عَلَى طَعَامِ الْمِسْكِينِ. Allah is saying, do you want to know the person who does not really believe he is meeting Allah? He is the person who doesn't care about miskin. He doesn't care about the orphan, the yatim. He will pray. But for wailul lil musallin alladhina hum an salatihim sahun. They are praying, but why are they praying? Yura'un, they just want to be seen praying. The people Allah is describing who do not really believe they will be meeting Him, they pray. But they don't do any good. They don't care about yatim. And at the end of the day, وَيَمْنَعُونَ الْمَعُونَ. Even the little ihsan, little good that people do, they don't do. To Allah, you are a believer if you have iman and amilan salihan. So when we talk about the development of society, about being useful, the Prophet said, whoever believes in Allah and the last day, inde mutun yayi imani da Allah and Yawm al-Akhir, what did he say you should do towards your neighbor? Yukrim, show goodness, show kindness to your neighbor. The Prophet ﷺ said, the Muslim, there are two versions of this hadith. One, the Muslim is he from whom other Muslims are safe from his tongue and from his hand. At-Tabarani, Ahmed bin Hanbal narrate another version of the same hadith, that the Muslim is one from whom all an-nas are safe from his hand and from his tongue. All human beings are safe. That if there's a Muslim, there will be zaman lafia. A Muslim cannot be the source of fitna, because fitna is a mafsada. A mafsada is among the things Sharia is here to remove. How can you be a Muslim and you are cause of fitna and mafsada? So when we talk about developing society, being useful, when you say, Allahumma rzuqna ilman nafi'an, nafi'an means what? Means it is knowledge that you will put to use. It's not knowledge that you just have to say, I know more than you. You all know the hadith Qudsi of the person who went to hell, even though he was a scholar. Why? Because he didn't do what Allah wanted him to do with his knowledge. He just wanted to be known. The same thing with the person who was a mujahid and died in battle. The same thing with the beautiful reciter of the Quran. So the key point here is for us to bear in mind, brothers, if we don't care about developing society, about fulfilling our obligations to society, if you can't remember last when you did anything good, Khairun nas man yanfa'un nas, the Prophet ﷺ said. The best of mankind are those who are most useful. If you can't remember how you have been useful to anybody, even an animal, wallahi, go and check your iman. Yeah, go and check carefully. You can't remember the last time you forgave. You can't remember the last time you did sadaqah. You can't remember the last time you did any watawaso bil haq or watawaso bil sabr or watawaso bil marhama. You can't remember the last time. Then remember, وَقَالُوا لَنْ يَدْخُلُوا الْجَنَّةَ إِلَّا مَنْ كَانَ هُودًا أَوْ نَصَارًا. If you are not careful, that is your own umniyah. You are just deceiving yourself. There was a man who was traveling to a village. On the way, he saw somebody trying to cut down a tree with a saw. He greeted him, Sannu Malam. And he carried on trying to cut down the tree. The man went to the village. 3 hours later, he was coming back. He saw this man still trying to cut down the same tree. This man knows, but normally a tree doesn't take more than 20-30 minutes to finish cutting down. So he asked him, Malam, is this not the same tree I saw you cutting down? The man was saying, hey, wallahi, it's the one. Kai. It's not easy. The man said, what is wrong? He said, the saw, the blade of the sword is not sharp. Okay? Zatoko? Yes. It's blunt, it's not sharp. He said, why don't you sharpen it? The man just came kind. He said, you think I have to waste my time sharpening? I'm busy, I'm in a hurry. And he just continued. We have many obstacles we want to handle. There are many trees in life we want to cut. But if you yourself are not sharp, you can't cut them. Education is a way of sharpening your sword. If you're going to be useful, you have to become a useful person. You can't give what you don't have. You have to be what you want to see. You want to see goodness, you have to be good. It doesn't just happen. Just the way you want this man to sharpen his sword, just the way you will see somebody not sharpening his saw, and you say, you are stupid, something is wrong with you, stop and sharpen the saw and you will finish this job in less than 30 minutes. The same applies to you. You must take your knowledge and mental growth seriously. You must take your health seriously. Otherwise, there's a limit to how much you can do in this life. There's a limit to how many challenges you can solve if by the age of 50, 60, you have diabetes. We have people who have continued to be useful to this ummah into the ages of 70, 80, 90. And there are some who they became useless. Strength had gone by the time they had already hit 50. Why? Bima kasabat aydihim. Yeah, it's things they did or didn't do that they should have done. You must be careful what you eat. Don't be consuming sugar just because your tongue is telling you it's sweet. It'll kill you if you're not careful. You know, take exercise seriously. Go and have medical checkups. Check your teeth. Check your health. People die of high blood pressure for avoidable reasons. Just stop eating this and start eating more of this. Solves your problem. Remember, your body has a right over you. We know the hadith, ko? Yes, your body has a right over you. It's not something you do, anything you do and you say it's my own body. No, it's a gift and a risk from Allah. When Allah reminds you, Alam naja'al lahu aynayn wa lisanan wa shafatayn, He is telling you about things He gave you. Some people don't have. Take care of them because you will be responsible for their use. In our own growth as people, Sharia considers certain things as minimum training, minimum obligations, minimum capacity building. Things that you should do for yourself because nobody else is expected to do them for you. These are considered fardu ayn. Fardu ayn means it's an individual obligation. It's fard, like salat. It's fard. Your own tazkiyah of your heart is a fard on you. Nobody can help you clean your heart. Nobody's fasting or dhikr or anything will do your own for you. So in every area, the talab al-ilm is a fard. You have to study. You have to learn. You can't just download it. But while you grow as an individual, remember, the South Africans have a saying. They say to travel far, you go with others. To travel fast, you go alone. To travel far, go with others. To travel fast, go alone. So it becomes useful for us to look at what are those things that I have to do on my own. Whether others do it or not, I have to do on my own. And what are those things that if as a community we are to go far, we have to do together. These are generally called fardu kifaya. Those obligations we need to do collectively. And if you are going to have more impact in collaborating with people, you will have to develop more skills of interpersonal relations. You have to be better at dealing with people. You have to try and understand people better. Otherwise, people don't like working with you. Cooperation is important with everybody. And we will come back to this. There are certain things that we are concerned about in society and in the world, but we have no influence over. There are certain things we are concerned about and we have influence over, but sometimes we don't do anything about them. The most important thing for you is something you have influence over and you can act on. You can't do everything in life, but you can do the things that are fard for you to do. There's not enough time to do everything in dunya, but there's enough time for you to do your fara'id, those things that are compulsory, whether it's a fardu ayn, whether it's a fardu kifaya. And I'm mentioning the two because many fardu ayn in our society have not been fulfilled. Sorry, fardu kifaya in our society have not been fulfilled. We keep calling them fardu kifaya even though they have already become fardu ayn. And we'll come back to that inshallah. Some students got a frog. You know frog ko? Kwado. They put a frog inside a bowl of boiling water. What will you do if you are the frog? Jump out. You think like a frog. That's exactly what the frog did. They put the frog inside boiling water and it jumped out immediately. Sensible thing to do. Then they got a frog and put the frog inside a bowl of cool water. What would you do if you are the frog? Relax, go, swim, enjoy life. And that's what the frog did. And then they took the bowl of cool water with the frog and put it on the stove. And they put the fire on. It was getting hotter gradually. The temperature was rising gradually. Because the temperature was rising gradually, the frog did not jump out immediately. It just stayed there, swimming. The water is getting warmer. By the time the frog realized it cannot move its legs properly, it was too late. The frog got boiled in that water. Most problems in society come gradually. Because they come gradually, we don't do anything about them. We don't take them seriously. When people end up on drugs and you say this person has become a junkie, is a drug addict, it didn't happen overnight. It was gradual. He was with this group of brothers and gradually he stopped going out with that one. He started going out with this one. Gradually, temperature was changing. Gradually, he is now on drugs. Gradually, he is dead. Everything happens gradually. When you hear somebody has become jahili, ignorant about the deen, look carefully, it didn't happen overnight. When you say somebody azama malami, you don't wake up and you're a malam. You just read a little more than other people read. You just have a habit of reading 10 pages. 10 pages a day. Is 10 pages plenty? No. But 10 pages in 1 year is how many pages? 3,600 approximately pages. In 10 years, it's how many pages? Over 30,000, actually 36,500 pages in 10 years. Do you know how many pages? What is 1,000 pages? Your ream of paper. One ream of paper is how many sheets of paper? 500. Front and back is how many? 1,000. When somebody says over the last 10 years, I have read 36,000 pages. Do you know how high you are talking? How many reams of paper? 36 reams of paper. 36 reams of paper. How can you be the same with somebody who has read 36? That's over this. Oh. This height of books on a subject, and you want to tell me you are the same with him after 10 years. Even somebody who did a PhD did not read that one. A master's degree student has not read up to 5,000 pages. 5,000. I know it because I did a master's degree, and not from a useless university. But the point is, when people gradually change for the better or gradually change for the worse, it's gradual changes, just like for the frog. Why is this important? So that we are cognizant. You are fully aware of what's going on in your house, in your family, and in yourself. When you find you have stopped doing the nawafil before and after prayers, temperature is changing. When you find, when last did I listen to a lecture, temperature is changing. When did I stop reading? Temperature is changing. I used to have the following friends. Now I have the following useless friends. Temperature is changing. If you do not handle small changes quickly, you will become like the frog. Societal development. Again, we should think about our maqasid. Think about the maqasid of Islam, of Sharia. Maqasid means what? Objectives. Yeah. The purpose, the intent, the objectives, the aim, the goal. Okay, the target. Those things that Sharia wants to realize. That's what we mean by the maqasid. Everybody should look for a job and a career that is in line with the maqasid of Sharia. Al-umur bi-maqasidiha. It's a qaida among the qawaid. It's number one normally. That al-amari, affairs, any issue will be decided by Sharia, will be judged by Sharia as good or bad based on the purpose and the objectives it fulfills. Al-umur bi-maqasidiha. The question is your life in line with any maqasid? Or kawa, you are just living like a cow on a roundabout. A lot of motion, no action. Yao, no progress. If I meet you next year, are you the same person? Or are you better at achieving an objective in life? Do you have a purpose? If somebody says, at the end of your life, you would like to have been remembered as having done what? And you can't answer, you will go into business and you want to know the profit. We need to ask ourselves, which of the maqasid of Sharia do you want to fulfill? There are certain maqasid, objectives that Sharia has to achieve in society that are called fardu kifaya. Fardu kifaya means doing it is a fard. It's compulsory. If you don't do it, society will face a darura. Society will enter a situation of difficulty. If somebody dies and you don't go and bury him, you just leave him there. Continue doing that and see how many diseases will spread in society. And how many people will end up dying just because they didn't decide to bury the dead. If we have enough people who can bury the dead, bury the dead. If nobody is around but you alone, you go and find a way of burying that dead person. If not, everybody will be in problems. Certain jobs that are considered fardu kifaya, professions. If we use examples, remember, any profession, any job, any career, any work, which if it is not done, society will gradually enter a state of darura, people will suffer or die. That job is a fardu kifaya. It's a religious obligation to fulfill it. If doctors stop working, will anybody die? Many people will die. If medical doctors, nurses just say, we are going on strike. For how long? For 1 week. No operation. No lab technician to tell you whether it's typhoid or malaria. Since people would suffer and society will fall into darura, providing health care has become a fardu kifaya. We need some people to do it. Once we've got enough people, the darura is over, it has met the kifaya, it has met the limit of the number of people required to fulfill it. When we do not have enough people to perform it, and the reason why you will allow your sister to go and open her aura to a male doctor, why? You say it's darura. Darura means a fardu kifaya has not been sufficiently fulfilled. And if a fardu kifaya has not been fulfilled, the fardu kifaya becomes a what? It's treated as a fardu ain. But some of us have gotten so used to our darura situation that darura has become a new way of life. We do not feel it is fard to get sisters to study medicine to take us out of the darura of getting our own sisters and mothers to see a male doctor. Something is wrong with us. That we are so used to a darura that it has become a way of life. I no problem. I darura ni. I know it's okay. It's halal. I because darura. Faman ittara ghayra baghin wala adinko fala ithma alayhi. We quote ayah. But darura is supposed to be removed. And so one of the qawaid of fiqh is that darar yuzal. Hardship, harm, darura must be removed. It must be eliminated. We can't get used to darura and say, okay, no problem. It's like people, because of darura, they had to eat pig. After a while, I abunda dandadima. You know, I don't need, no need to look for alternatives. We are okay with this one. No. Because you are in a situation of difficulty, al-mashaqqa tujlibu taysir. Difficulty calls for the relaxation of laws. That's why the law is relaxed. But that's not supposed to be a state of affairs. It's supposed to be transient. It's supposed to be eliminated. If people who are removing waste and rubbish, kayambola, if they stop working, will anybody die? Think. After 1 month, by the time you start hearing we have cholera outbreak, yes, many people will die. Kwash Ebola is a fardu kifaya. It's not some, if you want to do it, do it. No, it's a fard. You have a reward as a Muslim for fulfilling a fard. Why? Because you are among the people, just like the medical doctors, who is preventing society from getting into darura. Providing electricity. If you don't provide electricity, will anybody die? No? Think about it. You go to hospital. Sorry, all the vaccinations are spoiled because of no electricity. Sorry, all the blood banks, all the blood that has been stored has spoiled because of no electricity. Sorry, we can no more do surgery. The pharmaceutical company says, sorry, we can no more produce medicines. Sorry, we can't test whether it's malaria or something else. Why? No electricity. Sorry, you cannot get even your money with your ATM machine to buy your medicine because no electricity. Just because something was not a fardu kifaya in the past, because it wasn't a fardu kifaya in a village, doesn't mean it has not become a fardu kifaya to you today. If teachers stop working, will anybody die? Yeah, they will not die immediately. But let them stop working for 5 years and see what will happen. No more qualified doctors. No more qualified engineers. Everybody now is just quack medical guy. Quack everything. What happens? Then you see people dying. If people who are involved in business, anybody who is providing a good or service for the sake of making money, if people doing business were to stop working, will anybody die? Yes. Yeah, you can't get food into Mina. You can't transport yourself to the hospital. Why? Sorry, the petrol station has closed down. His business is no more working. The banks have stopped. They are no more working. NEPA guy says, sorry, I can't connect your light. We're no more working. The moment you know a particular job is a fardu kifaya, the knowledge for the fulfillment of a fard is regarded as what? It's regarded as a fard itself. Anything that is a prerequisite for a fard is in usulul fiqh regarded as a fard itself. And so if a particular job, whether medical, whether education, whether agriculture, the moment it is a fardu kifaya, its study becomes a fardu kifaya. Don't joke with your studies, please, if you know it is what gives you the qualification to fulfill a fard. It's a fard, for goodness sake. It's a religious requirement. It's not boku. It's ilman nafi'an. It's what allows you to carry on with your life as an ummah. So take your education seriously to the highest level possible. Take your careers and jobs seriously to the highest level possible. Join clubs, students' associations, organizations. Good people should not go and hide in one corner. Join the bigger society. That is where you can do the amal bil ma'ruf wa nahy anil munkar. The Prophet ﷺ said, a believer who mixes with people and has to do sabr because of their wahala is better than the believer who goes and stays alone, protecting his iman, and he doesn't have to handle the wahala and sabr of dealing with people. You have to be useful. So the moment there's an opportunity for something good, join and influence others. And remember, if you join any association or organization or anything, don't worry whether they make you leader or follower. Why? Because followers are an underestimated form of leaders. If you have a leader and you have the followers, and all the followers sukache bashi, let's go another way. Is he still a leader? No, the followers are what make the leaders leaders. That's why the Arabs say the leader is actually the servant of his people. Because if they turn away, what are you? You'll just be a fool. Most people who decide to join MSS are not joining MSS because of the national Amir. They're not joining MSS because of the state Amir. Most of those who are joining because of other followers and friends like them. You are the real power in society. So it doesn't matter if it is fi sabilillah, whether you are a leader or not. A Muslim is a Khalifa, you are a leader without a title. Why? Because Allah has already given you a title. What are you waiting for again? When we talk about unity in society, unity is supposed to be a way of progressing and pushing development forward. When you want to change society, when you want to fulfill the fardu kifaya, it's because you could not do it alone. That's why we are doing it together. Because you could not do it alone. We need to unite. But please remember, uniting for the fulfillment of a fard. If unity is required for a fulfillment of a fardu kifaya, unity wa'tasimu bihablillahi jami'an becomes a fard. I would like to say more on this unity. Because if you want to fulfill a maqasid, if you want to have action that is tied to iman, that is amilan salihan, and you know you can't do it alone, you need others, then it becomes a proof of the sincerity of your iman that you are ready to tolerate differences and unite in enjoining right and forbidding wrong. This takes us to the second issue, unity. Whether within intrafaith, whether between us and other religions, or whether between us and people of any faith or any ethnic group. Unity is not an end in itself. We don't unite for the sake of unity. We unite for the sake of an action. We don't get united, okay, now we are united, now what? No, nothing. Nothing. So what's the use of uniting? Unity is a means for achieving those things that an individual cannot achieve. We may not unite on everything. After we all leave this place, some of you will go and unite with some people who are medical doctors. Some will go back to their jobs as teachers. Some will go back to their jobs in da'wah. Some will go back to their jobs in the market. Some will go back to business. Everybody will go and get another group they unite with. And when you go back home, you unite with your family. But you are not with your family when you are doing business. We have different types of unity. If uniting will help achieve a maqasid, achieve an objective, then it is useful. But if getting together will slow you down in fulfilling something, then avoid it. As we said before, to travel far, yes, you'll have to go with others. To travel fast, you sometimes have to go alone. So it's for you to look at the responsibility. Is this better done alone, or is it better done with others? The Sirat al-Mustaqim, what makes us Muslims and what makes a Muslim are certain fundamental articles that make us say you are a Muslim. What are those things? Briefly, in Usulul Fiqh they will say it is those teachings of Islam that are the darura, that are the essentials of the deen. What are they? Those teachings of Islam that meet two criteria. They are what they call qat'i thubut and qat'i dilala. Qat'i thubut means that these teachings, whether it's about 5 pillars, whether it's about time for prayer, whether it's about zakat, whether it's about standing for justice or alcohol being haram, those teachings that come from sources that nobody argues about regarding their authenticity are called qat'i thubut. Those hadith and of course the whole of the Quran where ba gaddama, no khilaf, no difference of opinion. Those are described as qat'i thubut. Qat'i dilala refer to those meanings, those implications of the text that nobody argues about regarding what does it mean. That when you look at all the evidence, you conclude alcohol is haram, not makruh. That we pray 5 times a day and these prayers are fard. And the morning prayer is in the morning. And dhuhr is at this time, and asr is at that time, and maghrib and isha at that time. That we should stand for justice. That we avoid zina. That we avoid stealing. That we avoid lying. That we avoid bearing false testimony. That we do the following acts of ibadah, that we have faith in the following types or following aspects of Aqidah. Where scholars differ because the Quran or Sunnah are not too clear, they are what they call dhanni dilala, that it is open to interpretation. There's some level of speculation or presumption. Or where it is dhanni thubut or dhanni al-wurud. Some say it is sahih, some say not. The moment you have any evidence that is based on dhanni, and a scholar therefore differs with another scholar, that is called khilaf. That's accepted. The straight path is wide enough for more than one view. Where something is treated as dhanni dilala, that it is open to different interpretations, but somebody says it is qat'i, and if you disagree with him, you are a kafir, you become a sect. That is called firaq. But where something is qat'i thubut, qat'i dilala, and you reject it, it is called kufr. However, whether you have disagreement on khilaf, whether you have firaq on issues to do with deen, or whether you are dealing with a kafir, there's space for what you unite on, and there's area you disunite on. I'll start with dogs. Have humans learned to unite and cooperate with dogs? Have they? In doing what? In hunting, in catching a rabbit, go? In what again? Security, in catching the thief, or at least letting us know there's a thief. In airports, they will use dog to smell whether there's anything with gunpowder, explosive, or to smell whether there's drugs or a particular contraband. What are the similarities between a human being and a dog? Common objective and understanding. We all agree to catch the thief. What does the dog want? Give me food and a place to stay, and I will do your job of catching the rabbit. With all the differences that exist between a human being and a dog, we still have space to unite. How can you and other human beings, because of differences, say you are disunited? That there's nothing in common. Did the Prophet not do sulh with kuffar? Didn't he do? Treaty of Hudaybiyah was with Muslims in Medina and Muslims where? Muslims in Makkah? Who? With kuffar. And with everything the Quran says about the kuffar, the Prophet still did a sulh. All right, let's do zaman lafia. At least let's agree to live peacefully. Yes, la abudu ma ta'abudun. Wa antum, you will also, what is it? Wa la antum abiduna ma abud. And at the end of it, lakum dinukum waliya din. No problem, but we will still do sulh. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, with all the differences between Islam and Kufr, still recognized, just as we can have unity with dogs where we agree, we may not eat the same food, we will not worship Allah in the same way, our differences did not prevent us from cooperating where we had mutual interest. Unity in Islam is not uniformity. Unity is not uniformity. And difference of opinion is not disunity. Because we differ doesn't mean we are disunited. No. You differ, no problem. We'll still go to Hajj together. Hanafi, Maliki, Shafi, even Ja'fari. We'll still go for Hajj together. Still do Ramadan together. We look for the minimum denominator for the purpose of collaboration. With all the differences between the Muslims and the kuffar of Makkah, the Prophet still found a denominator. Something we can agree on. You like peace, we like peace. And peace suits us well because it allows us to even do more da'wah. It allows you to understand us better. And the Sahaba said, after the Treaty of Hudaybiyah, 1 year into that treaty, more people had embraced Islam than all the people who had embraced Islam from the time of Makkah right until the date of that treaty. Because Islam spreads during time of peace much faster than during time of fitna. So we use our common ground for cooperation in attainment of maqasid and maslahah. Imam Ash-Shatibi said, all revealed religions have the same maqasid. If you ask a Christian, are you interested in protecting faith? He would say yes. Interested in protecting life? Yes. Interested in protecting family? Yes. Interested in protecting wealth? Yes. Interested in protecting mind? Yes. So what's the difference? We differ in how seriously we take each of these. And we differ in the rules and the effectiveness with which we achieve the maqasid. So yes, we have similar maqasid. And the purpose is for you to negotiate. What can we agree on? So that we live peacefully. Lakum dinukum waliyad din. Da'wah continues. You carry on with your own evangelism. It's survival of the fittest. Ja'al haq wa dhahaq al batil. If you have the truth, you present it. It will give it'll push falsehood away. It's only if you are ignorant of the truth, then you should be afraid of falsehood. Another area is respecting differences and avoiding mafsada. There are many harmful things in society. Even non-Muslims will tell you this is harmful. They don't want armed robbery. They don't want any of the mafasid. I had a meeting with the CAN chairman of Niger State just before the last confab. And I wanted to understand, what is your problem with Muslims? Just to hear from you. He fixed an appointment with 2 other Christians to join. 3 of them and myself. And I said, I'm not here to defend Islam. I just want to understand you better. That's all. And they started talking. There was one point I found very interesting. He said, Gaskiya, we also had a problem because you Muslims banned alcohol. I said, what was your problem? He said, to tell you the truth, we had a lot of church members who were drinking alcohol and we had no solution for them. We didn't know what to do with that problem. When Kure came and banned all this alcohol, he said, Wallahi, we were happy. It solved a lot of our problems. So I said, so what was your problem with it? He said, you didn't take us along. That's all. If you had explained it, why it is useful, no problem. But we felt you are just imposing your law on us. That's why we reacted. Sometimes it is our lack of diplomacy. Yeah, our lack of diplomacy that makes somebody doesn't dislike Islam. If you are harsh, even as the Prophet was told, if you are harsh, they will leave you alone. If you know how to present it, bil hikmah wal mawidhatul hasana, jubilatul quluba ala hubbi man ahsana ilayha. You know, people have been created. They like good things. If you do something useful, they will like you. But even though you are hungry and you like good food, if somebody throws it on the table, you will not eat it. Not because you are not hungry, but walakad karamna bani Adam. Yeah, everybody has a sense of dignity. And so even when you come to present the deen, present it bil hikmah, the way Allah said. He knows how He created human beings. So we have diversity. We have difference of opinion. Difference of opinion, as we said, does not automatically mean disunity. When you are in a board meeting of a company, they will tell you, do not put on the board of your company people who all agree with you. If not, when you are making a stupid mistake, they will say yes and you will all get into problem. Always make sure you have on the board, in your exco, always have people who will argue with you. Why? Because they are the ones who will bring the disadvantages of your plans. In business, they will do what they call a SWOT analysis. SWOT. S stands for what? Strengths. W, weakness. O, opportunities. T, threats. Why do you think people in business want to study weaknesses and threats? Is that not negative? Why, when you want to go into a business, do you want to find out what are the weaknesses of this idea, of the business, and what are the threats to this business? Because you want to know what the challenges are before you go and face them and make big mistakes. You want people around you who will correct you, who will tell you the truth. One of the things Umar bin Khattab really cherished from Ali bin Abi Talib was, while some others may tell him, Abamana, no problem. You know the case, the woman who Umar called and Taibari, miscarriage. What should is he responsible or not? Habamana, and everybody said he's not responsible. Ali said, I don't know why they are telling you that, but if not because of your own harshness, sternness, this woman, Bazata Firgitaba, she wouldn't have been anxious and afraid. So yes, you are responsible. And Umar said, may Allah bless you. And he prayed for him. Umar benefited by having people who will tell him the truth, not going with what everybody says. During the time of Sayyidina Ali, somebody came and told Ali, during the time of Abu Bakr, we didn't have all the fitna we have during your time, Ali. During the time of Umar and Uthman, we didn't have the fitna. What is the problem? Ali gave a very beautiful answer. Ali said, during the time of Umar and Uthman, Abu Bakr and Umar and Uthman, they had Sahaba and people around them like me. During my time, I have people like you. That's the problem. When you want a diamond, when people find a diamond, it's usually like a stone, it doesn't shine. When people want a diamond to shine, they cut it and they polish it. When you bring an idea, you want people who know how to cut your idea to size, who can polish it for you. That's why in academia they have peer review. You will produce an article, put it in a magazine, put it in a journal. Everybody will comment. You will improve. That's how knowledge grows. That's how authentication, evidence. You know, we say, Al-Yaqeen la yazulu bi-shakku. Certainty is not overruled by doubt. Yeah, as Muslims, we don't want to operate on just waham and guesswork and speculation. No, we want to go with evidence. And if you want the truth, you need people who will tell you the truth as it is, even if you don't like it. It is when somebody tells you the truth, however difficult it is for you to swallow, that you will go and sit in one corner and you will do tadabbur. Now you go and think about it, etc. Then you come back. If people would not tell you the truth, you'll just go ahead. So you need diversity. You need some friction. You need people who will polish your ideas to help you look again. There was a king who wanted his son to go and learn some wisdom from an old man who lived on a mountain. And the prince went to the top of the mountain and met the old man. And he said to the old man, my father, the king, said I should come to you. He said when he was young, he came here and learned some wisdom from you. I have come also to learn from you. What would you want to teach me? The old man said, you came from down where the town is? He said, yes. How long did it take you to come up here? He said, Kai, nearly 6 hours. Good. Tomorrow, we will go back down again. Okay, no problem. Early morning, they were on the top of the mountain. And the old man asked him, from where you are here, what do you see? He said, I see other mountains. I see the rising sun. I see clouds. I see valleys. I see hills. I see a lake and a river in the distance. And down there I can see the small town. I said, good. Remember what you can see. What do you hear? What I hear? I just hear the wind blowing. I just see the clouds moving. That's all. I said, good. Let's go down. So they started walking down the mountain. 3 hours later, they reached around midway. The old man asked him, now what do you see? Well, I see trees, a lot of trees. I just see trees, and some birds. What do you hear? I hear the sound of a few animals. And in the distance, I can hear the sound of people in the town. Do you see the sky? Just leaves of trees. Can you see any of the other mountains you were seeing before? No. Said, good. Let's keep going down. 3 hours later, they got to the bottom of the mountain beside the village. He said, okay, stop. What do you see from here? I see people, I see animals, goats and cows and sheep, chickens, some birds. Can you see the lake you saw before? Ah, no, not from here. Can you see the hills? No. He said, that is the lesson I want you never to forget. Life is like climbing a mountain. From one position, you can't see everything. If you're a leader, there's a limit to what you can see. Another follower sees things from a different angle. It is important for you to appreciate that different people are on different parts of the mountain, and everybody sees something different. So appreciate the diversity. If you are an Amir, don't let it get to your head. Appreciate there are other perspectives of the organization that other people and followers can help you with. So have the humility and the curiosity to recognize that even as a leader, you can't see everything. Your position actually limits what you can see. And so we are asked by Allah, shawirhum fil amr. Consult people. As believers, amruhum shura bainahum. That you reach conclusions, you settle your affairs through consultation with others. Everybody has a perspective to give. Even if you didn't like the other perspective, at least listen to it. It gives you more perspectives, it gives you more paradigms. Nigeria is like a big boat. Jirgin Ruako, Safina. It's like a big ship, it's like a big boat called Nigeria. Inside this boat are people of different tribes, different religions, different ethnicity, different economic, social status, big diversity. Young, old, male, female, you name it. We need to find ways of making sure that people on the lower deck of the boat, you remember that one, Ko? Do not say because of poverty and they want water, they will make a hole in the bottom of the boat. Yeah, we will all be destined to drown. We should be afraid of the kind of fitna. Fitnatun la tasibanna alladhina zalamu minkum hasa. There's the kind of fitna that kaiba ruwanka is not your business. Somebody did something wrong, it will come and hit you. If something is wrong anywhere, whether it's affecting a Muslim or a non-Muslim, Sunni, Shia, Christian, animal, anything, if it is wrong, please, if you see something wrong, correct it with your hand. If you can't, with your tongue. If you can't, then change it in your heart. Pray for it to change. In this boat called Nigeria, we will continue doing da'wah and trying to get some non-Muslims to recognize and embrace Islam. But وَلَوْ شَاءَ رَبُّكَ لَجَعَلَكُمْ أُمَّةً وَاحِدًا. Had Allah willed, He would have done that one Himself. But He didn't. So we are going to have to live with the fact that some people will stay non-Muslims, some people will stay Christian, some people will stay Muslim. Some will leave this religion and join it. That will continue. How do we make sure that the different religions on the people of the boat do not become a reason for people on the boat to start fighting each other? If you end up killing each other, what is that going to change? What is in Christianity that justifies you to kill a Christian? What? Anything? He says Jesus is God. So what? Is he to be killed for that? No. It's lakum dinakum waliya din. Dama kuni ahl al-kitab. In fact, the fact that you said Jesus is Son of God or you believe in Trinity, Quran says wala taqulu thalatha ko. وَلِلَّذِينَ يَكْتُبُونَ الْكِتَابَ بِأَيْدِيهِمْ. And you have corrupted your scriptures. وَقَالُوا اتَّخَذَ الرَّحْمَنُ وَلَدًا. You are the ones who say Allah has a son. The moment you even say it, Adama, this is evidence that you are Ahl al-Kitab. Is it not the Ahl al-Kitab that the Quran says a Muslim man is allowed to marry? And what is marriage? You will love this person. You will have children, mawadda wa rahma. You will live in sakina. In spite of the difference in religion, Islam still allows that level of love. Not because of their deen, but because of the individual. Did the Prophet ever love a kafir? Did he? What is the sababun nuzul of the ayah where Allah says, Innaka la tahdi man ahbabta? Who was it? Abu Talib, the uncle of the Prophet. A good man. Was he a Muslim? No, he was not a Muslim. And to the best of our knowledge, he didn't die as a Muslim. But the Prophet so much loved him, trying to guide him, that Allah acknowledged that love by saying, Innaka la tahdi man ahbabta. You can't guide the ones you love. Walakin Allah yahdi man yasha. It's Allah who guides whoever wills to be guided. In spite of the difference of faith, there are areas that the Muslims have been able to cooperate with non-Muslims. So when it comes to Nigeria, it is for us to ask ourselves, what are our maqasid as Muslims? What do we want to achieve? Protection of our faith, protection of life, better healthcare system, better security, protection and enhancement of aql, better educational system, better control of drugs and narcotics and drug abuse, protection of family, of better justice system in the courts, protection and enhancement of wealth, better distribution of wealth, better job creation. Then let's cooperate with others in this area. And where we disagree, we do lakum dinakum waliya din. We are reminded by Allah in the Quran, in Surah Al-Mumtahina, regarding those non-Muslims who have not fought us against based on our faith and have not driven us out of our homes. لا ينهاكم الله أن الذين لم يقاتلوكم في الدين ولم يخرجوكم من دياركم أن تبروهم وتقسطوا إليهم. Those who did not fight you because you are Muslims, they did not drive you out of your homes. These people want to live peacefully with you. Allah says to people like that, you deal with them with bir, with goodness. This is the same word used for bir al-walidayn. With goodness. Watuksitu, and you should show justice, fairness towards them. In fact, the concept of justice and fairness in Islam is so serious that we are taught as Muslims, however much hatred you have for somebody, or however much hatred that person has for you, you do not allow that hatred to misguide you, to make you swerve from justice. You don't let hatred of any make you move away from justice. You stand for justice because that is closest to godliness. And even when it comes to somebody showing enmity towards you, what does Allah say? Yes, you can stand for justice, but it is better if you forgive. But there's something you can do that is better than forgiveness. idfa' billati hiya ahsan. فَإِذَا الَّذِي بَيْنَكَ وَبَيْنَهُ what? Adawa. كَأَنَّهُ وَلِيٌّ hamim. Allah is talking about people who have shown adawa, enmity towards you. Says, pay back wrong done to you, pay back with good. idfa' billati hiya ahsan. فَإِذَا الَّذِي, that is when between you and the person with whom there's enmity, كَأَنَّهُ وَلِيٌّ hamim. But is it easy? No. وَمَا يَلْقَاهَا إِلَّا الَّذِينَ صَبَرُوا. Say masu hakuri. إِلَّا ذُو حَظٍّ عَظِيمٍ. It's not easy, but that is the greater jihad you need to do. We find in marriage, the point we've already made, that in spite of the difference of faith, Sharia allows us to get us close with Christians as even marriage. We find in the seerah of the Prophet ﷺ, the Prophet agreeing to treaties like Hudaybiyah, agreement with Christians of Najran, so many treaties. where we have good in common, we agree. Military treaties. The conquest of Mecca was not because the kuffar of Mecca went and attacked Medina. The Muslims had a contract with the tribe of Banu Khuzā. And the contract was, anybody that attacks you, we will all get together, like United Nations. We will all get together and we will fight that person. Quraysh attacked Banu Khuzā. Because of the treaty with Muslims, the Prophet ﷺ said, we are in al-Muslimun in the shurutihim. Muslims are bound by their agreement. We will have to conquer Mecca. But what are we pointing out here? The Prophet went into treaty agreements with various Jews and Christians and idol worshippers. Islam is a religion that teaches bridge building down to the level of family and marriage. And of course, during the time of Islamic civilization, this was the time Muslims were the biggest learners. Learners are always leaders. If you are humble enough to learn, people will come to you. If you try to become arrogant, you know everything, they will leave you. Muslims so abandoned science, development, that when some of the Western army came to attack the Turks in the Ottoman period, what were the ulama arguing about? You know this cannon gun, this big gun that they push that is firing, what do you call it? Cannons. What do they call it in Hausa? You know what I'm talking about, Ko? The Hausa passed my power. Some of the ulama were arguing on whether it was halal for Muslims to use a cannon in fighting. Because the ulama had delayed getting an answer to that question, most of the Muslim lands had been conquered beyond recognition. You can blame the colonialist for colonizing you, but you must take a blame for your own colonizability. Yes. And so we find the encouragement of shura and the importance of diversity, particularly in our world today. We are in a world where there's a lot of cherishing of anything that is multidisciplinary, multimedia, multi-talent, everything multi. Interdisciplinary, interfaith, international, inter this, inter that. In a globalized society, there's more multi and there's more inter. There's more need for lita'arafu, that you should get to know one another better. We remember as we leave this, that what binds us is greater than what divides us. On our shared humanity, one thing to remember, we all have one creator, we all have one humanity. People may want to divide, but when Allah was saying, Inni ja'ilun fil arda khalifa, He was not just talking about only Muslims. It is mankind He was going to put. And our responsibility is for the job of Khalifa to be done well. You need the guidance of the Creator. And so as Muslims, our responsibility is to share that guidance with humanity, but to learn to work with humanity and its diversity. To travel, to learn, particularly in the information age and global village we find ourselves. Very quickly, 5 types of minds we need to develop. We need to be more respectful of diversity. Somebody has a different religion, a different ethnicity, a different race, the moment they are different, please respect that difference and try and understand it better. Don't do blanket generalizations. In the past, somebody can stand up in the West and insult Islam back to front, and no problem. Today, even Obama is afraid to insult Islam. Donald Trump, you know the case, ba? Yes. He is on the Republican side trying to be president. He is on the Republican Party. He said if he is made president of America, he will stop Muslims from coming into America. Instantly, he became popular among a few, but even people in the Republicans realized this person cannot be our leader. Yes. We cannot be a nation that is among the most powerful nations in the world and we have a leader talking like that today. Gone are the days where you can stand up as a leader, insult Buddhists, insult Christians, insult anybody. Gone are the days when you can insult a tribe. Try it today as a political leader in northern Nigeria. Go and insult Yorubawa and see what will happen. That becomes the end of your political career. In a global society, you have to show more respect to diversity. If you are not doing it, start. In the past, it was okay for you to crack a joke. Let me tell you one joke about one Fulani man. You think it's wise for me to tell that joke? No. There's one joke about Gwaris. It's no more politically correct to do that. Believers should not laugh about other believers. You do not do to others what you would not want done to yourself. Let's be careful at the speed at which the world is changing. It's becoming a more respecting world. Yes, there's Islamophobia and hate for Islam, but that's not all that is happening. You need to be more ethical towards everybody, not just people of your group. And in any field you are studying, you need to be very disciplined. In the past, it was okay for you to just say, this is the village doctor. Anybody that has problem, you go to the doctor. After a while, you can't just be a doctor. You have to start to specialize. This one is a pediatrician. This one is a gynecologist. This one is a psychiatrist, epidemiologist, surgeon, gasunande. Now, you are now having what they call super specialization. You don't have somebody who is a doctor who specializes in cancer. No. Now they specialize in a particular type of cancer. Not any kind of cancer. It's not like before where somebody specializes in bones. No, now they specialize in particular bones. Yes, it's not just bones general. Some people specialize in eyes, but not every part of the eye. This operation, you go to this doctor. That other type of problem, you go to somebody else. And in every field, it is like that. There's no more, I'm an engineer. That's a big lie. Tell us the truth. Engineer of what? Any field you pick, mechanical, go and do your masters. You go into one small area again. I did agriculture. ABU. By the time you are getting to your year 4, you can't continue saying, I'm doing agriculture. They will tell you specialize. Or yeah, what do you want to do? Animal science, crop science, agri-economics and extension, or soil science. You can't just do agriculture. So, okay, I'll do animal science. And I graduated. But on my certificate, it just says, be agriculture. If you decide to go for a master's degree, they will take you. So you want to do your master's degree in what? Animal science. And there's no real master's degree in animal science. You have to pick an animal. Yes, now. What? You are going to study sheep and goats and kaza and fish? No, you pick one. So you pick chicken. You say you want to do your master's degree in chicken. You can't do master's degree in chicken. You know there are many types of chickens, go. There's layers, there's broilers, there's dual purpose. Okay. Let me study dual purpose. And there are many now. Pick one. Okay, there's this chicken called Rhode Island Red. Okay, fine. But you can't study Rhode Island Red for master's degree. Do you want to study its nutrition? Do you want to study its circulatory system, its skeletal system, its muscular system, its hormonal system? You pick one. Finally, you pick one, you do your master's degree. They will still tell you you have a master's degree in agriculture. You will go and do PhD, and your PhD may be on the quality of calcium deposits of Rhode Island Red chicken in Zaria between the ages of 5 and this number of months. At the end of the day, you will graduate PhD agriculture. That's a big lie. He can't plant a yam. Yeah. We are living in times where the higher you go, the lower, the narrower it gets. An expert is somebody who knows a lot about a little. So it's important for us to try and specialize while you stay broad. Need for creativity, need for synthesizing. The last one is on peace, both internal and external. I'll start with the external, not because it is more important, since we know inna Allah la yughayyiru ma biqaumin hatta yughayyiru ma bi anfusihim. The change will be inside out, not outside in. We see a lot of changes in Nigeria, and a lot of people are catching up on that change. If you look for the asali, where did that change come from? It comes from the change in the heart of one person called General Buhari. Yeah. And that change is infectious. A lot of us trust him. A lot of us are ready to change too. But where did it start? It isn't Nigeria who changed Buhari. It's the other way around. And it's not Buhari alone, of course. Alhamdulillah, the numbers are increasing, and may Allah make it easy for him and all of us. A king sent his son, same king, to the mountain. Go and learn something from my teacher. He said, the same teacher as before? He said, yes. And the king said, when I was young, my father sent me there. I spent a whole year up there. So prepare to spend a year. The son got ready, climbed the mountain, went through the forest, finally found this man. And he said, my father says I should come for some more lessons from you and that I may spend more time. The teacher said, I want you to go and spend 1 week in the forest. 1 week. And at the end of that week, I want you to come back and tell me all the sounds that you have heard. He said, okay. So he went, he sat quietly listening. After 1 week, he came back. And he told the teacher, oh, I heard the sound of the wind blowing the leaves. I heard the sound of birds flying. I heard the sound of crickets making noise. I heard the sound of a lizard walking in the bush. I would sometimes hear the footsteps of an antelope running. I would hear the chirping and the sound and singing of birds. What else? Well, when the wind blows, I will hear the sound of the winds. Teacher said, you have said that one already. He said, okay, I think those are the main sounds I've heard. Teacher said, go back to the forest. Spend another month if you have to. Listen careful. Listen carefully. He says, I want you to do tadabbur. I want you to go and think carefully at all the sounds you hear. Look around you. What's going on, and can you hear the sounds? And then come back and tell me what you hear. I said, why? I said, okay. Oh. So he goes. He sits there 1 week, second week. He's sitting and he decides to lie on the ground. Then he starts to hear some sounds he never heard before. He was really listening beyond the sound of the birds and the wind. Suddenly, he said, MashaAllah, I can hear the sound of a flower opening. I can hear the sound of the roots of grass drinking water. I can hear the sound of the roots of a tree as they are digging into the soil. I can hear the sound of worms moving underground. I can hear the sound of the sand cracking as the sun is heating it. I hear the sound of a leaf falling, and every move I hear. I hear the sound of a bird turning its head. I hear the sound of a fly landing on a leaf. He went back to his teacher. He was very excited. And he told the teacher, "Teacher, this is what I heard." And the teacher said, "Very good. You have heard the unheard. You have heard the unheard." As a leader, he told the boy, when people talk, don't just listen to what they say. Listen to what their eyes are saying. Listen to what their hearts are saying. Can you read what their hearts are saying? When somebody is crying, listen to what the tears are telling you. Don't just look at the mouth. As a leader, try and learn what people really believe, not just what they say. For that, you need humility. For that, you need to be curious. And when people agree or disagree with you, go and do tadabbur. Go and sit and think carefully. Don't just be a leader who I hear, I see, and you judge. Hear the unheard. As Muslims who want greater peace in society, we should learn to listen more carefully at the cries of people. To seek to understand others before we seek to be understood. A doctor, even though he knows more about health and disease than you, he will still want to diagnose and find out what is wrong before he prescribes. We seek first to understand before we seek to be understood. During the time of Jahiliyyah, as we've said earlier, it is the kuffar of Makkah that gave the Prophet a nickname. What was the nickname? Al-Amin. It's not Muslims who called him Al-Amin. Non-Muslims called him Al-Amin. Before the Quran was revealed, he was called Al-Amin. Now that you have the Quran and you have the Sunnah, what is your nickname? What is your own brand? You know, when somebody says my phone is Samsung, or my phone is Nokia, or my phone is Techno, or my phone is this. My car is this. My car is Toyota. My car is Mercedes. The moment somebody tells you the car, you know certain things that it stands for. Among the Sahaba, when you said somebody, we know him for justice, who are we talking about? Among the Sahaba. Justice? Umar. When you say generosity, who are we talking about? Abu Bakr. When you say being gentle, who are we talking about? Uthman. When we say hikmah, who are we talking about? Ali. They had brands. What is your own brand? If you work in a school or in a factory, if you work in a market or in your family, in your neighborhood, when people mention your name, what comes to mind? Anything positive? Or they just say, Kai, I want to be fitinani. Wahala. Is that what people think? The Prophet was sent as a rahmah lil alameen. Are you a rahmah to anybody or are you a fitna? What is your own brand? We should be compassionate. We should stand for justice. And remember, just like seeds, what you sow is what you reap. The more you sow, the more you reap. If you stop sowing, you will still get weed growing. In agriculture, they have what they call a germination percentage. It means if you plant 100 masara or dawa, you plant 100 seeds of maize or guinea corn or beans, will you get 100 growing? No. Among us as human beings, you will do good, some people will not appreciate it. It is only with Allah that He will say, Hal jazaa'ul ihsan illa al-ihsan. Any good you do, Allah recognizes it. In fact, He will multiply it. But among human beings, if you do good and you are expecting every good you do to be recognized, you are deceiving yourself and you will be disappointed. And that is why you should not do good so that others will recognize or pay back. That is not doing good. That is lending good because you want somebody to pay back. That is why you should do good with the intention and resolve. La nuridu minkum jaza'an wala shakura. Do it fi sabilillah. That is what doing good is. And lastly, have a heart at peace. Live your life so that your taqwa, you are conscious of your Creator and you are conscious of your duty to creation. Be at peace with Creator and creation. Don't go to bed with any guilt. Have a heart at peace. Somebody shows you enmity, salama. He is jahil, salama. But you never do injustice. Your worst behavior that is accepted as a Muslim is when somebody does wrong to you, you do exactly what he did, but you don't do more bad to him. Otherwise, you have a problem with your Creator. But it is better for you to forgive, and it is better for you to do idfa billati hiya ahsan. Remember, you have to change inside. Hatta yugayiru ma bi anfusihim. We should take our ibadat seriously. Every time you sit and you do tashahud, what are you doing? You are repeating your shahada. You are repeating what people say when they become Muslim. When they become Muslim, we want to be there. Why? You said, Ashhadu Allah ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammad Rasulullah. You said so. You are to live it. That when people see you and how you behave, they can see you have a contract with Allah. That your life bears testimony. As the Prophet was a testimony, so should we also be testimonies. That you live your life fi sabilillah. And anybody seeing how you behave knows this one yana da alaka, you have a relationship with Allah. The last story I will say is about another king. This king was about to die. He had no children. So he told his people, they lived by the sea. They lived on an island, big island. And they had another island nearby. Most of these people were fishermen and farmers, but they were very rich. When the king was about to die, he said, the next person that is going to be king will be king for 5 years only. After 5 years, on the first day of the 6th year, take him and drop him on the island. There's another island where all the dangerous animals they have, lion, tiger, snake, anything dangerous, that's where they went and put it. So you will be king for 5 years. At the end of your 5 years, security will just come and take you and go and put you on that island. Nobody is known to have lasted on that island for more than 3 minutes. The animals will finish you. The king died. Said, oh yeah, who wants to be king? One guy said, me, I want to be king. You? No. Well, you know, after 5 years, Sheikh, we will take you to the island, and you know what will happen. He said, Mala, let me enjoy life for 5 years better than the life I'm having now. I want to be king. No problem. Be king. Year 1, in fact, day number 1, the guy just started partying. Partying, marry, divorce, new clothes, new food, build bigger castle. That was how he spent his life. At the end of 5 years, on the first day of the 6th year, security came and said, Tom, Alam, time don't do. He shouted and screamed, sorry, the law is the law. They carried him, put him on the island. As they dropped him on the island, they were going, they didn't go far. They just heard some shouting, screaming, roaring, and silence. He was dead. They came back, they told everybody what had happened. Oh yeah, who wants to be king now? One guy said, Wallahi ni. You? Yes. They made him king. This one partied more than the first one. This one told his tailor, Malam, I don't want to wear another dress, the same dress for 2 days. Every day, different dress. Is it understood? Yes. Every day, different woman. Is it understood? Every day, different food. For the next 5 years, I don't want to eat the same food. Lallai. Year 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. First day of the 6th year, Tom Alam, time to go. He shouted and screamed and begged, sorry, the law is the law. They carried him in the boat, took him to the island, dropped him there. He shouted and screamed, then there was silence. He was gone. They came back. Oh yeah, who wants to be king now? One young man said, me. People looked at him. Habamana, we know you to be Malami. You are not known to be like these people who just want to enjoy life and waste the rest of their lives. He said, I want to be king. His friend said, but you are not poor, you are okay. He said, I still want to be king. Hato, he says he wants, leave the guy, so he became king. In his first year, he got the hunters together to go to that island. Go and catch all the dangerous animals and put them in one zoo. In the second year, go and fill the place with farmers and put schools there and put factories for their agricultural produce. By the third year, design better schools, better accommodation for people, better factories, better amusement park, better everything. By year number 4, life on that island was more enjoyable than life on the present land. By year number 5, when people were clamoring, how can I get land to build my house there? He went and built his own house there. By year number 5, he built a nice bridge between the mainland and the island. By the first day of the 6th year, security came. Tom Alam, time to go to the island. He said, Bismillah. In fact, you can come and eat in my house. This dunya and our time here, we don't know whether we'll be here for 5 years or more or less. But how you live your time here determines whether al-akhiratu will be hayrul laka min al-ula or not. If you waste your time here, may Allah protect us from Jahannam. But if you use your time well, if you try and make sure that you prepare for the future, this life and the next, that when you are doing your planning, you think long term, even though you are going to act in the short term. They say think globally, but act locally. In conclusion, everybody please get a personal qibla for your life a clear purpose with the rizq that Allah has given you and how you are going to fulfill a maqasid. Look at the context in which Allah has put you in, what responsibilities are on you that are fardu ain or fardu kifaya. Develop yourself, develop your iman, because that is the only true way of being a mu'min, by developing yourself and your society. Search for knowledge, useful knowledge, and follow that knowledge the whole way, wherever it guides you. Remember, unity is not uniformity, and differences of opinion is not disunity. Remember, we unite with even dogs, even though we are different. Be sincere, be humble, and be curious. The Chinese have a saying that the reason why all rivers, all streams continue to flow to the sea is because even though the sea is the biggest body of water, it is more humble than the rivers. It stays below them, and that's why the rivers continue to flow to the sea. But even stone and tree don't like to grow on the mountain because of its arrogance. Be ibadur rahman alladhina yamshuna alil arda hawnan. Move this world and move around in humility. And when you meet ignorant people, don't be arrogant. Qalu salama. Be committed to learning and to right action. And in any aspect of your life, try and attain the maqasid of Sharia. Look for peace internally and externally, because peace internally and tazkiyatun nafs and your relationship with Allah and a better relationship with society all fall among jalbul masalih and dar'ul mafasid, about accruing benefits and removing harm. This is the definition Izzuddin bin Abdul Salam gave to maqasid Sharia. And the best jihad for you for now is to be the best Muslim you can. Whether it is to learn, whether it is the tazkiyatun nafs that you never stop. That is a jihad you never stop. The jihad bin nafs never finishes. You don't graduate from it. As we say in Students' Union, aluta continue ako, jihad ma continues. Assalamu alaikum. I don't know which one. Oh yeah.
Takbir! 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 So, alhamdulillah, that is the presentation by our brother Nuradeen. Lemu. We will attend just very few questions. Then we have about 2 here. Inshallah. Those of us that need the cassette, inshallah, is going to be available. Question, please. 1. Two, please, let's be seated. Security, don't allow anybody to go out, please. Don't allow anybody to go out. Security, please. We have not yet closed. Number 1. Number 3 is here. Number 1, come up, followed by number 2. Your name, area, unit, and the question. Who is number 1? You are number 2. 1? We don't have 2, 1. Okay, you can be number 2 now.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Mr. Presenter, Jazakallahu khairan. You said during your presentation, okay.